Hello again YouTube, Pan here. You join me on a glorious sunny Sunday with the birds tweeting outside, airplanes flying overhead, and the first hints that maybe spring might actually be on its way now, just as long as you don't step outside and feel how bloody cold it is. Alas, my mood today is not quite so jubilant as it might otherwise be, for reasons that will become clear as soon as I start talking about what's in the purse this week. It's a silver British trade dollar. Or, at least, that's what I thought it was. Now, at first glance, it looks like it does everything it's supposed to be. You can see the year 1900 there. It comes in a nice capsule and has Britannia on that side and the Chinese and Arabic markings on the reverse, so all looks in order. It even comes with a certificate of authenticity. So that should all be fine, yes. According to one of the Silver Four members, this mark at the bottom indicates this is from the Westminster collection. It was advertised as coming with a COA when I bought it on eBay, so I thought, oh well, no problem then. But then the niggling doubt started to sink in. The first suspicion that I had this might not be entirely genuine was the colour. And I'm just going to pop it out of its capsule. It's definitely silvery, but I'm not sure how well this comes across on the camera. It just feels a little bit duller and less shiny than some other silver coins I have. For example, if we compare it to a Libertador from Venezuela, can you see the difference in colour there? It just doesn't seem as bright. It seems slightly duller. One of the threads that I've read about fake British trade dollars is that they have a slightly kind of soapy texture, and looking at this, I can kind of see what they mean. It puts me in mind of the 0.5 silver British coinage that we got between 1921 and 1947. In fact, bear with me a second while I just crack open my piggy bank. So, for example, here we have a George V florin. Yeah. And you can kind of see what I mean. It's got the same sort of dull, slightly murky kind of greyish tinge to it. Not as severe, but it just reminded me a bit of those. It's a bit of a bugger trying to get the lighting equal, because I don't want to be having one coin in the shade and one coin in the light and say, look, they're different. So it seemed a little bit off, so how do you go about checking it? Well, first things first, the most straightforward way of checking a coin is to check the dimensions. So we have our calipers. We're looking for a diameter of 39mm on this one. Yep, that's close enough for me. And then a thickness of 3, so I'm just going to bring it back down to 0. Yeah, that's zeroing correctly. $3mm, I'm more or less happy that that's pretty much spot on. So the dimensions are right. The other easy thing to check is the weight. So we should be getting a weight, even according to the certificate of authenticity, of 26.95 grams. But you can see when I put it on the scales, we get something that's actually less than 26.4, so that's more than half a gram out. which for this particular coin equates to a little over 2% out. And okay, maybe you could account for that in just kind of wear and tear, but looking at this coin, it doesn't look that badly worn. You can still see lots and lots of the details. You can see, you know, the ruffles of the cloak. You can see the flag very clearly on the shield. It just doesn't seem worn enough to account for that much weight loss. So the next test to look at is the magnet test. Again, there are lots of videos of this that you've, I'm sure, seen elsewhere, so I'm going to compare this coin with the Venezuelan Bolivar, which is should be the same purity of silver, should be 900 silver, which I learned today is sometimes referred to as coin silver. And I'm going to also compare it with my George III crown, which is 925 sterling silver. So you see how it slides down, but it's sort of slow. And on the crown, now let's try it on the trade dollar. Do you see that? Even at a relatively low angle, it still falls off much swifter. You can actually see how much further it slides across the desk when it gets to the bottom. So this doesn't seem to be slowing it down at all, which again raises the suspicion that it's not pure silver. Incidentally, the phenomenon that causes this is the moving magnetic field basically induces eddy currents in the metal, so the high conductivity of silver. The eddy currents then create an opposing magnetic field which opposes the movement. So if you get a metal with a very, very high electrical conductivity like silver, you'll get a much stronger effect of this. Hence, the higher purity silver coins tend to slow the magnet down more. So it looks a bit wrong, the weight is a bit light, and the magnet doesn't seem to be doing what it should normally be doing. So I'm pretty suspect of this one. I've contacted the seller and they have been very accommodating. They've said, okay, no problem, if you're not happy then send it back to me and you can have a full refund, and they'll cover the cost of return postage. So I'm very satisfied on that front, so this will be going back to them tomorrow. But I thought it would be a good chance to have a quick look at how one goes about detecting fakes. And there's one more test that I'm going to have a look at. I haven't done it before, but given that this is the first time I've had serious doubts about a coin, I'm going to do it now, and that's a specific gravity test. Before I do, a quick word about specific gravity. When people talk about specific gravity tests, it sounds a bit fancy. What it basically is a density test. So specific gravity is just the ratio of the density of a material to the density of a known material, say water in this instance. So it's basically just checking that this material is as dense as it should be. The reason this is useful is that if this coin has genuinely lost 2% of its weight just from wear and tear, well, that's fine, but I would expect the specific gravity, i.e. the density, to be still absolutely spot on, because if it wears down but it stays the same density, I would expect that to be the same. So a specific gravity test should hopefully be able to clarify one way or another whether this is a genuine coin or not. So bear with me while I set up my kit for this next test. And we're back. And you can see here my patented specific gravity testing equipment that comes with a complimentary specific gravity goblet. Tastes like lacerated lips. So, first things first, what is the specific gravity they're actually looking for? What's going to be an indication that this is the correct density? So the specific gravity for coin silver is 10.31. So hopefully if our calculations at the end give us that, then that's an indication that no, this is actually a genuine coin, it's just a bit worn down. So how do we get there? Well, first of all, we need to measure the mass of the coin again. Which, even with this little bit of thread that I've added to it, is still just 26.38. Next, we place our patented specific gravity tester onto the scales, and we zero the scale. So, all things are naturally buoyant in water, but the key thing about whether it floats or not is whether that buoyancy is sufficient to counteract its actual weight. So if you put anything in water, it will weigh less than it would do normally, and the amount less that it will weigh by is equivalent to the amount of water that it displaces. So what we do now is we place the coin in, it will displace some of the water, the weight registered by the scales will go up by that equivalent amount, and we then know what the equivalent volume of water weighs. We then divide the mass of the coin by the amount of the weight of the water that it displaces, and that gives us the ratio of densities, which is our specific gravity. Damn it, scales, I told you to zero. So that seems to be stabilised there at about 3.14. Whew. And you'll notice it's not quite gone back to zero, that's because I've taken some water out with the coin just clinging to it. So we divide our initial number, 26.38, by the mass of water that is displaced, 3.14, and we get 8.4, which is a long way off from the 10.31 that we were looking for. Which is a strong indicator that this coin is not in fact what it purported to be, and is some kind of actually significantly less dense material. So, a difference in specific gravity of that magnitude is, yeah, pretty suspect. So that one will be going back. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been informative, and if you have any thoughts, please share them in the comments below. Please feel free to give this video a thumbs up, and once again, thank you everyone for your comments and support. It's very much appreciated. Take care. Bye for now.